When local growers put great food on Tennessee tables, that's living green. Tonight on Live Green Tennessee, we learn about the Fair Share urban growers in Chattanooga. Then we explore part 2 of the solar home tour with the Cowans. And finally, we check out a booming Wednesday farmers market in Cookeville. All this and more coming up next on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by...
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program is provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture, providing leadership on food, agriculture, natural resources, and related issues based on sound public policy and efficient management.
Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer, and I'm proud to bring you stories from across our great state on Live Green Tennessee. When Joel Tippins made the decision to relocate his nonprofit from Dayton, Florida to Chattanooga, he saw a need in the community that perfectly matched his organization's principles. While Chattanooga prides itself on a growing local food movement, oftentimes residents in the inner city are unable to access that fresh food. Fair Share Urban Growers focuses its many projects on providing much-needed food security in Chattanooga's urban core.
Fair Share is a 501c3 nonprofit, and our mission is to address local food security. And we concentrate on urban, low-income neighborhoods. There's quite a popular food movement here in Chattanooga, but for the most part, the food movement is a drive-by when it comes to low-income neighborhoods. And so we saw a niche there that our organization could look for ways to be involved, helping empower people to grow their own food and participate in an even more local food movement.
This is still considered kind of downtown Chattanooga, and it is where the poverty is really concentrated in Chattanooga. It's considered the urban core. It has a lot of the problems that are common to inner cities, but the one thing that sort of binds it all together is a real lack of access to fresh food.
You know, if you don't have a car, it's very arduous to get fresh food. The little convenience stores that are around here, they're not really going to sell really fresh produce. And so it is really difficult to get really healthy food affordably. And this is the one place where you can come and learn to garden and make huge amounts of fresh vegetables for yourself, more than enough for yourself to eat and your family and your neighbors.
This project here in Ridgedale is, I guess we're in our second year now. And what makes it unique is that we can demonstrate to folks that you don't need the best piece of property to grow food for your household. This is actually on an asphalt parking lot.
So we spent the first several months, we got load after load after load of wood chips from the city of Chattanooga, and they got dumped and we started spreading them out. We put a layer about that thick of wood chips. And then we had a little grant from the health department, the Step 1 program, and they paid for the soil.
So we basically made raised beds on top of the wood chips with the topsoil, and we supplement the fertility of that soil with the compost we make. We try to do everything naturally. We're not looking to meet any kind of organic certification process or anything that way, but we just try to impress upon people that you don't have to spend the money on the chemical fertilizers or pesticides, that all of those things can be dealt with naturally. Part of Fair Share's philosophy is we like free. And so we look to reclaim, reuse, repurpose, basically scavenge what we can find in the city that could then be used to grow food in.
And so as you look around the garden, you can see that we have intentionally used a lot of discarded, whatever we can find. So pallets, tires, bicycle tires, old drum, barrel that's got a cutout to it.
We've slowly been building infrastructure, compost bins, water retention. A lot of that was done the first year, and we're just building on it, and we're getting to do more fun stuff. We've got some mosaics out near the road and some flowers put in, so it's just kind of evolving.
While we were working with this project on East Main, we caught the attention of the executive director at Hope, who also attends New City Fellowship, where we did our first food project. And he invited us last summer to come and do a garden project with the middle school kids. And the more we talked with him, the vision for that project grew and grew. And so now we have the Grow Hope Urban Youth Farm that we're trying to develop, that is a gang prevention activity for marginalized youth in the community.
We engaged the kids and they came out, and I noticed as they started digging in the dirt and they were complaining, but they were stressed out, early reactive, kind of like post-stress disorder. The more they handled the soil over time, they got more relaxed, they got more interactive. They really began to own it, give ideas, and be creative and involved in it. Then I realized, boy, this is something that really is going to work this summer and something that's really needed in their lives.
They have contributed in a very significant way in helping build out the infrastructure for what we hope to become the Grow Hope Urban Youth Farm, where older employable age youth would then be in a position to make a little bit of money providing fresh local produce in the food desert here in East Chattanooga.
I think the biggest thing that they're learning is that they can advocate for their own community, that there's something in their young age that they can do to make a change. If there's not healthy foods, they can grow it. In a minute way, in a long-term way, they're gaining the skills so that they can respond to the needs of their families at home.
And it's just great fun. And that's really the guiding philosophy behind the work here with the young people is, food justice, living in a food desert, not having access to fresh food. Those are all very significant, troubling issues, but working on a sustainable solution to those problems should be fun. And it reminds me of I think it's a Spanish proverb that says, more grows in the garden than the gardener knows he has grown. And usually that's the case. The impact may not be so much the amount of food that someone's bringing to their household, but the sense of community, and people may not even be involved in the garden, but yet take pride in having it be a part of their neighborhood and respect the efforts of the folks that are doing the work in the garden. I just don't know that you can put a value on that.
On the second installment of Solar Homes in West Tennessee, Jeff Cowan will take us through his home, which, like the first house, is also a net zero home. His home was not set to a budget during the building stages, but shows us all the many ways available to break down parts of your own home and learn the most effective possibilities available in order to become more energy efficient and save money, while also doing your part to save the environment. WLJT's Laura Standifer returns with part 2 of this story.
It's an insulated concrete form construction house. We'll talk about the structure a little bit later. The layout of the house is the same, south-facing windows, south-facing solar panels. We have the utility meter here. We have the solar meter here. This utility meter was on the site probably 9 months before we started making electricity. We were doing the build with this meter. It didn't take very long for that meter to pass the utility meter that had already been here for 9 months. This one shows a consumption of around 10,900 kilowatts from the beginning of time since it's been here. We've already produced almost 14,000, 13.6 on the solar, which is more energy than we've consumed, but also with the program we're in with TVA, they pay us a rate that's above the rate that you would normally pay. For an example, we pay around 9 cents a kilowatt hour for our electricity, and they pay us around 21 cents a kilowatt hour. So even if these numbers were even, or maybe if I used a little bit more than I produced, I would still have positive cash flow from the utility company. So the whole idea of this solar thing is to drive down the cost of living in the house. That's my idea of it. And you're saving the earth, saving energy. That stuff works well too, but for the homeowner, the biggest benefit is not having any bills. We don't have gas here. Everything works off electricity. We have a well that works off electricity that we're producing. We have a sewer system because we're out in the country. It's not a city sewer, it's a septic tank. So there's no sewer bill, there's no gas bill, there's no electric bill. I just get paid. Here on a good sunny day, I'm betting we'll walk in there and it'll be probably around 72 degrees. Most homes struggle with not enough humidity, not enough moisture in the air, because the heat, you know, in the wintertime you go in somebody's house and you go to sleep and you wake up with a dry mouth, a dry throat. That's from lack of humidity in the air because of the heat is kind of driving the moisture out of the air. We have a high return for the HVAC unit, and in the hallway where we came through earlier there was a low return. We have both high and low return. And then here we have the supply back from the energy recovery ventilation system. So this is fresh, clean air being pumped in. There's no such thing as a 100% airtight home, but this is about as close as you can get. This house exceeds Passivhaus standards. It's a German standard that's not very well thought of in the United States. Not many people even think of building a house that tight. There's been people to attempt it. Very few people achieve that standard of air tightness in a house. There are very few of them in the country that are that tight. But this one's been tested and retested, and it is beneath the threshold for Passivhaus standard. For that reason, we have to bring in fresh air. This is an energy recovery ventilation system. This is the control unit to the energy recovery ventilation system. It has a system that brings in fresh air, pumps out the stale air, and it HEPA filters the fresh air that's coming in, but it scrubs across a heat exchanger, so your stale air is heating up the heat exchanger. When the fresh air comes in, no matter what the temperature is, hot or cold, it goes across the heat exchanger and it gets closer to the temperature of the air that you just pumped out to kind of retain your heat. We have LED can lights above. I think they consume around 11 watts. These bulbs here are LED. They screw right into a normal light fixture. They burn about 7 to 7.5 watts each. And they put out more light than a 60-watt incandescent bulb, except they're not burning the extra power. And also, you can see I'm touching it. They are cool to the touch, and they remain cool to the touch. So in the summertime, they don't give you excess heat. That's the thing about incandescents. They add up, and they can heat the house, and you have to recool. what you're heating there, and you're also spending energy. Anytime you have a heating element, you're paying extra energy, but these are so cool to the touch. It's kind of an indication of how very little current that they're pulling. Like I said, throughout the whole house, every light, even the floodlights on the outside are LED. So that drives down the lighting load really low. All the appliances are the lowest energy appliances that we could find at the time that we built the house. That went into consideration on every piece of the house to try to Energy Star rate the house. From the ceiling fans to the refrigerator to the dishwasher, even the garbage disposal. We got the lowest energy consuming products that we could find on the market. We put load switches in all the rooms. This switch is high to separate it from light switches, not to be confused with a light switch. What it does, say this system here with these big speakers, the amplifiers, they'll pull, I've measured them, somewhere between 65 to 85 watts turned off. That system's pulling that much energy, just sitting there all day, every day. So what we do is we turn this switch off, and it kills everything on this wall. I have the satellite receiver plugged in on the other wall. It pulls about a watt, so I'm okay with that staying on during the day. So there's no hesitation. I come in, I flip the switch on, I can watch the TV, watch movies, do whatever we want to do. And at night, we can turn the switch off before we go to bed. So that's not sucking energy. We don't have to get down there and unplug or any of that stuff. It's real convenient. Right before we go to bed, just flip that off and everything's back the way it should be. Living in these solar homes, a lot of people think, like the hippies, you got to go out and catch your water, and that's not, as Jack mentioned earlier, we don't want to sacrifice. So we're running big screen TVs and big amp systems, but also we're not making sacrifices. We're living the way we would normally live, only we're getting paid for it.
The farmers market in Cookeville has become so popular that local residents seek the chance to get fresh fruits and vegetables on more days than just Saturday. Wednesday market has been picking up steam and has quickly become a destination for Cookvillians seeking out local growers during the week. WCTE's Jacob Carr brings us this story.
First of all, I really believe that people come here because they get a better price, and that the crops are fresh, are a lot more fresh. Nowadays, you see a lot of, if you go to the grocery stores, if you look at the vegetables and the things, they're not grown here. They're from other countries. And I think people enjoy coming out here because, well, fellowship for one thing, and then there's such a variety.
I think that's true. A lot of people want to know why I don't price my stuff. Well, I tell them, well, if I price it, you won't talk to me. So I like to talk and, meet the customer. That's what it's all about for me. It's about money, but mostly it's about the pleasure you get out of it and enjoy it.
I really, really appreciate this city give me an opportunity to just come in and sell my vegetables. I really enjoy to just share these all pretty vegetables with all the customers. I really enjoy doing this. I'm so excited every day. Coming, doing my show, set up table and everything and selling. And we're doing good deals, good price. And you see the quality is really nice, pretty as well, like they found it. And the store, only the difference is a little more cheaper.
And I enjoy very much at the farmer market that can reach out to the people and share that they like to know something is different and live healthy.
Well, mostly you can see what I'm doing here. I just do the produce. Don't try to get anything big. Just something to keep me busy. Yeah, they really like the heirloom. It has taste, and I like to grow the stuff that tastes good. If it doesn't taste good to me, I don't want to grow it. Because I don't figure you'll like it if I do. You got eggplant. This is something that most people want to know. What is this? That's Oriental eggplant. Grape tomato that I've had reproduced for about 15 years. And you got yellow straight neck squash, celebrity tomatoes, German stripe, and German pink, Carolina gold and yellow. And then of course we have the green tomato. And on the end we've got butternut squash and spaghetti squash.
We just started like 12 years ago when we just moved to Tennessee, my husband and my 3 kids, and we find a beautiful place with all kind of beautiful apple trees in there. So just start like as a hobby and growing all these kind of yummy vegetables, because that's pretty much what I like to eating. And when I start to plant all these vegetables, I started having excess. And then I'm thinking about maybe we're going to look in a place we can sell my vegetables. And, you know, of course, I live in Class Ranch, Fentress County, and we decided to come into Cookeville. Before to building this beautiful place, we used to go to the church, and then they making this nice, pretty building, the city, you know, for all the farmers market. So here I am, 12 years, continue doing these yummy vegetables for everybody.
And now we have just about 5.5 acres. And we raise bee, goat, sheep, and peacock, guinea, duck, chicken, and cat. And all these kind of products. And we use from our farm, and we have all kind of herbs that from Thailand, that is my hometown, and why all these that cannot be found here. And I have lemongrass, I have turmeric, have ginger, and have lime and key lime. That is the plant is hard to grow over here, and anything that is made from whatever comes from farm. Have beeswax is made from the pure beeswax, and our honey also. And I have been the 3rd place last year and this year, and our soy products we win this year is the 4th year, the 1st place.
I only do 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays, but I think the farmers market in general is open 6 days a week. Depending on, you don't have as many vendors during the week as you do on Saturdays. But it's a real nice market. Well, I don't know that you would find anything here on Wednesday that you wouldn't find Saturday. Probably find more on Saturday, but there's getting to be more variety on Wednesday than there used to be. I mean, we've got markets over half full today with vendors, and usually that's kind of unusual at this time of year.
Definitely, I love Wednesdays because there is a lot of more customers coming in this day, and I think Wednesday is a good week, the day for selling my vegetables here.
I think that probably Wednesday, this particular Wednesday, probably was a selective day for a lot of the people here because we've had so much rain and people are just not turning out for it. But everybody came out today thinking that there would be a bigger crowd as far as today being a good day because we've had the rain and people want to get out, you know. But yeah, I think they come here because the vegetables are fresher and the prices are good. I think that's got a lot to do with it.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Live Green Tennessee, where we take you all across the state into the farms and businesses of those who are making the move to eating fresh, living sustainably, and helping us all be more organic in our thinking and the way we live our lives as Tennesseans. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Live Green Tennessee.
If you would like more information about Live Green Tennessee, please visit our website at livegreentv.org, where you can find everything from healthy recipes to past episodes and more. This program is brought to you in part by
Behind every Pick Tennessee Products logo is a Tennessee farmer who brings you fresh, local food grown with the kind of pride that gets handed down through generations. From now through fall, you can find Tennessee fruits and vegetables on farms and at farmers markets near you. Find your Tennessee farmers at picktnproducts.org.
What makes our state unique? Find out on the new Tennessee Channel, a statewide initiative by your public television stations. Each program is created in Tennessee, about Tennessee, and broadcast in Tennessee.
The Tennessee Channel, Saturdays 6 to 10 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 2 to 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on your public television station.
Funding for this program was provided in part by the United States Department of Agriculture.